My next guest is a very funny comedian and a friend of mine. He'll be appearing this week in my hometown of Indianapolis at a place called Crackers. Please welcome George Miller. We're all dressed It looks like you have some new clothing on. You look great.
Yeah, same stuff I wore the last show, I think.
Nice to see you. Have you
I wanted you to know that I picked up J. Paul Getty up in Squirt, Washington in 1943, so I thought you might like to know that.
Did that work out to anything?
And I also will answer any questions in the audience if I feel like it, okay?
Now, I haven't seen you since before the holidays.
Right.
Have you made any New Year's resolutions? I know you're the kind of guy that likes to have a clean slate
I like to try to get my life in order.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah, well, the only thing is I've always procrastinated all my life, just put everything off. So for 1983, no matter what it is, I do it, get it over with, and get on to life's next horror.
Well, that's good. Now, I understand you were vacationing in Seattle?
I went up to Seattle. It was right around Christmas time, actually.
Yeah, that must have been fun.
Oh, that was a thrill a minute. And I visited the Drake family, who I think I've talked to you a little bit about them before. Yeah, I grew up next door to them. Probably, I would say, the cheapest people in the history of the world. Mr. Drake died about a year ago. He was frightened to death by a toll bridge, so... But the twins, the Drake twins, Lenny and Benny, I think it was, they were younger than I was. And I remember, I think they were very, first of all, they were theatrically inclined, and they were very, very, what is it, precocious, intelligent, same thing. Yeah. I went over there one time, I think they were 8 months old. They were doing the cab scene from On the Waterfront. So
8 months, huh?
8 months old, yeah, very precocious. I guess that's the word. And Leon Drake.
Leon's the one I know about.
Yeah, Leon is a very. He was older. He was a good friend of mine in high school. He's a very frail, fragile, skinny kid. And one time I was sitting next to him. We were always kidding around. I was sitting across from him in the school lunchroom, and you got the straw. And you blow the paper off the straw at somebody, right? I did that to Leon. It killed him.
Dead?
Yeah, to Leon, that was deadly force, I guess.
Oh, my. Well, kids shouldn't try that at home.
No. Definitely not.
Did you see Mom when you were up there?
Mom was up there.
Killed him?
Killed him just better than a mackerel, as you would say, I guess. Yeah.
Woo.
Mom was up there, and I was thinking the other day, as my mom gets older, the advice that she would give me or the things that she said really would stick in my mind. Like, she's a very positive person, and anytime I was troubled, she would always say something that would make me feel better. I remember one time I went to her as a teenager, and I told her how miserable I was, and she said, "Don't worry about it. It's just a phase you're going through. It's called existence." So that, she was nice like that.
Buoyed your spirits.
Yeah, it helped out a lot.
Helen, your mother Helen, isn't it?
Yeah, Helen, and it's kind of turned out that way. So
yeah.
And I was thinking, I heard this expression the other day, and I'd heard it from my mother when I was real little, and you probably heard it too. Somebody said, "I want something." And my mom says, "People in hell want ice water, but they're not getting it either." Yeah. You heard that?
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah. You heard that? Yeah. So I was little, I was confused. I thought hell must be like Denny's. It's hard to get ice water. So I couldn't figure it out.
Now, I know you're an avid reader. You read everything you get your hands on, don't you?
Reading is my salvation.
Yeah,
sure.
Have you seen anything in the papers lately?
I got some stuff because I can't. It's funny, I was at a place called Joker's, Oklahoma City. Joker's Comedy Club.
Oh, it's a club, yeah.
Yeah, it's another one of those famous comedy clubs that you always kid me about. And it's funny because I always get out my little sheet of paper, because when you read something off, I think it's really more effective. And somebody, I guess, was there on Tuesday, and then, as you would say, he was starved for entertainment because he came back Saturday also. Right. And I get out the paper again, and he says, "Haven't you got that crap memorized yet?" No, I guess I don't.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, I have this written down because I thought I'd forget it. My friend Gordon McLee, who's a friend of yours also, is in the audience today. Gordon, I worked at the Comedy Store for a long time. Gordon was the piano player there years ago, and there's one comic after another, and Gordon sometimes at the break would this is not a joke, he would actually play Abraham, Martin, and John. So nothing like a good assassination number to get the crowd up. So anyway, the first thing is from the New York Times this morning. It's the Personals. Do you like the Personals at all?
I hardly ever read them. I'm so busy that I hardly ever get around to the Personals.
I knew you were busy.
Yeah.
This is from the Personals today. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of John Norman Rigby? Please keep it to yourself. The man is extremely boring. personals column.
Yeah, in the personal column, yeah.
Yeah, the second thing I have on my list here is the Grammy Awards. I did not see them, but I was very disappointed that the song, this is an actual song title, no, I did not make this up. I think the most unusual song title of last year was not mentioned. It's a today song. It's a now song. Yeah. Do I have to give up me in order to love you?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should ask them. And going on with my news...
Wait a minute. Wait, I don't think you're going anywhere. I think we're done here. No, well, we'll come back. We'll come back and try and get it in.
Right.
See, try and memorize that crap.
All right.
We'll be right back. Thank you very much. We're out of time. I want to thank Dr. Bernard Meltzer, Melvin Dumar, George Miller, Paul Shaffer, and our announcer Bill Wendell. Tomorrow night, Thelma Moore and Don Novella. You're going to be in Cleveland when?
Cleveland, March 22nd at the Front Row 3 Theater with Bruce Baum.
Very effectively done. Good night. Paul. Our next guest is a very funny comedian and a good friend. He'll be appearing tomorrow night through Sunday at the Comedy Works, where you're saying, well, Denver, Colorado is the answer. He'll also be, that'll be May 10th and the 15th. No, I've screwed it up now. That'll be in Denver. And on May 10th and through the 15th, he'll be at the Comedy Spot in Atlanta, where everything is so much funnier. Please welcome George Miller. Hi, George. Nice to see you. We'll be at the Comedy Spot in Atlanta. Comedy Spot. Last time you were here, you were on your way to Indianapolis.
Yeah, I went to Crackers.
Yeah.
And I was also in Squirt, Washington at the Hungry Wart again.
Yeah.
And have you ever been to Squirt? Squirt is a very small town. The bowling alley only has one lane.
No kidding.
And 3 of the pins are missing. It's
oh, that's awful. Vandalism. You figure a small town wouldn't have that kind of trouble, but
no,
they do,
you wouldn't think so. Yeah, a perfect game is 210 there. You know.
No kidding.
Yeah. But,
gee.
I've been all over. I've been at the Laughing Canoe. Been at the Hungry Wart, the Comedy Crotch. I've been all over these places.
Comedy Crotch, you bet. And do you enjoy your travels around the country?
I do enjoy my travels. In fact, later on tonight, I'm going to do my impression of a typical nightclub owner, which requires a prop. I take out a nickel and squeeze it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Now, do you like use a lot of props? Do you enjoy people who work with props?
I love prop comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, when I really want to be entertained, the first thing I always look for is a guy with a trunk.
That would be where he would carry his props.
Right, he would carry. Yeah, we don't have to explain these. This is big-time entertainment.
Now, what about the improvisational comedy?
Oh, that's a notch above charades. That's my all-time favorite.
You enjoy that?
Yeah.
When you go to these clubs, do you meet women?
Once in a while you'll meet somebody, and I had a blind date in Indianapolis, and I want to tell you about this. And first of all, she wasn't the friendliest person in the world. I found out that she had been voted Miss Win Chill Factor of 1981. I get over there, right, and I knock at the door, and the first thing she says, "What are we going to do today?"
She said it in that tone of voice?
Yeah, what are we going to do today? No hello, no nothing.
Boy, that gets under your skin
food,
right away,
nothing, right?
Oh.
So I says, let's do something you like to do. Go to a chemical spill and take a dip.
And take a dip,
Take a dip, yeah.
That's
what I said, take a dip.
Take a dip.
So once in a while, I do like travel. You don't like to fly, right?
I don't like anything.
I forgot about that. I forgot about it. Nothing.
That's true. I don't know. It finally came out. I don't care much for anything.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older, but
It's your birthday, isn't it?
I just sit on the edge of my bed and stare at the floor. That's what I like doing.
That's too bad.
No, I don't. I fly, but I'm not.
I've been flying Eastern Airlines recently, which is my all-time favorite airline.
You enjoy that airline?
Flight attendant, could you make it a little bit colder in here? I can still move my toes. I was doing some investigating because I've been traveling around the last couple of years.
Wait a minute.
Hang on.
Wait a minute. You're part of the airline meal, as I recall. What is your favorite part of the airline meal?
Oh, what I love is anytime you have lunch or dinner on an airplane, same thing always happens. I burn my tongue on one of those piping hot rolls.
Oh, yeah, the piping hot rolls. They're just... You'd think they'd let them cool off for a minute or two before they...
Well, like you say, they should put a warning on those things.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And
fresh from the oven, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think the last time that roll saw an oven was like 75.
Yeah.
Like that.
What do you have there? More props?
This is not a prop here. I was investigating because I've been suspicious. I am mentioned by name in the Federal Aviation Rule Book. Listen to this. Federal Aviation Rule number 337 states that all aircraft are constructed so that if comic George Miller is on board, it is mechanically impossible for the plane to take off unless there is a screaming baby directly in back of it.
Well, you should be flattered in some odd way, I would think.
That's an exaggeration. However, coming back to New York, I'm trying to take a nap. I can't do it because the little kid right behind me is getting into the Guinness Book of World Records by opening and closing his tray table 1,000 times a minute.
Yeah. That's fun. That's fun to do.
Don't pick your face like that.
No, I didn't. I just did like that. I had a little itch
kind
there.
of picking it, though.
No, I wasn't actually picking it. It was.
It was a pick.
I'm
a pick.
I'm just sort of rubbing it. It's actually nothing there.
You got the nail right in there. That's a pick.
There's nothing there, and the only reason I'm doing it is you're making me nervous. That's the only reason I'm doing it. Just like that.
You wouldn't be nervous.
I wouldn't?
No, I know you. You're not nervous at all.
All right. Sort of brought the proceedings to a halt, haven't we?
Yep.
What are you doing after the show?
I thought maybe I'd hold a seance and try to contact Franchot Tone.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, really? And you have good reason to be nervous.
No, who is that?
That's an old-time movie actor.
See, and how many of you knew who are you even pronouncing
Well, wait a
that?
minute, though. You're older than they are. You should know, because the average age here is like 10. Hey, we're kidding around. Don't groan. That's what Kip Addotta always says. We're kidding around. Kip Addotta is a very good comedian who's had some problems with representation. In fact, he once approached the Reverend Jim Jones for management. But we're kidding around.
Now, where are you going after this engagement? You're off to Denver?
Going to Denver to work for my old friend George McKelvey at the Comedy
Excuse me, just a minute. Somebody's packing a trunk back there. What exactly is that?
That's the motorcycle that's being shipped out.
Oh, the motorcycle is being shipped out. Let's go take a look at this, shall we, folks? We're going to go see the motorcycle. Come on, George. Shipping out a motorcycle. How much time do we have here?
About 1 minute.
1 minute, all right. Excuse me. Before you ship out the motorcycle, could we get a look at it? There it is, right there. This is the motorcycle, and you weren't going to use this, were you, George?
No, not today.
Okay, this would have been Zippy's motorcycle, right?
That's correct.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to interrupt the packing procedure. You guys, you go ahead. We'll finish the show another time. All right. Packing the motorcycle back there. We're packing up the motorcycle. I'm sorry.
That was kind of improv, like we were talking about before.
Pretty much just it went over as well as Franchot Tone also.
Right.
So now where were we?
You were asking me what I was going to do after the show, and this time in New York it's going to be either maybe a museum or a concert or a symphony, something like that. Either that or get real drunk and try to find a tramp.
Well, those are all noble desires. We have to go away. We'll help them pack up the trunks and what do you call it, the motorcycle for Zippy, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much, Paul Shaffer. We're out of time. I want to thank all the folks in the studio audience. What a great crowd, as always. My thanks to George Miller and also Mr. Tom Boswell, Zippy the Chimp, Jack and Fran Rinsky. Also a special thanks to Bob Furmanek, our announcer Bill Wendell, Paul Shaffer, and the Party Boys of Rock and Roll. We'll see you tomorrow night. Nora Ephron will be here, plus a visit to the United States Football League Hall of Fame. Good night, folks. Thank you. My next guest is a very funny man. He will be working at the Detroit Comedy Castle on June 15th through the 19th. Welcome, please, George Miller. George. Hey, George. Nice to see you. What have you been doing lately?
Well, I just got through at, oh, I'm not supposed to swing back like that, you said. I was at the Ice House in Pasadena, where I know you've worked. I was working for Bob Fisher, who is the, as you know, is the MC and also the owner, which kind of gives you an idea of the budget there. And it was funny because you had the rodents here, and I followed a pig one time here. And at the Ice House, the first time I was ever there, it was like audition night, and anybody could get on. They had all kinds of acts, and it was about 8:30, time for the show to start. And I look out, and there's like 3 people in the audience, but it's okay because they're seated incorrectly. And
they're seated incorrectly?
Yeah, they were all spread out. You couldn't do comedy.
Right.
And I didn't get on. It was 8:30. I sat there, I think, about 5 hours. I got on about 1:30 in the morning. I followed Rex, the gas-passing chicken. So this is nothing. This is child's play for me to come out after the rodents.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you're a trooper.
I am a trooper.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Now, I know you went up to Seattle to see your family.
I did. I drove my mom up to Seattle. She moved back there, and I visited my sister, who I haven't seen in a long time, Bernice. I don't know. Bernice strikes you funny?
Yeah, you have a sister, Bernice Miller?
Yeah, no, Bernice Tootson. She was married. She's 32 years old now. She was married when she was 19 to Lloyd Tootson for about 8 months. They got divorced, and she never remarried after that. It was just a series of sailors. But
that's too bad.
And I saw my mom. Took my mom out for Mother's Day. It was very nice.
Yeah? Where'd you go?
Had drinks and dinner. Got her real drunk, pushed her face in her food. And, I didn't really push her face in her. She fell in there by herself.
Yeah.
I didn't touch her.
Now, what about is your uncle?
Uncle Lewis was
Lou.
up there. Yeah, he's originally from Jackson, Mississippi. He was up there. He's the budget psychiatrist.
That's
Probably,
right. That's right.
I would say Uncle Lewis is the most organized man I have ever seen. He has die on his list of things to do. So it's last, of course.
Yeah, that would be
and,
right at the bottom.
Right. And he is a budget psychiatrist. It's $3 a visit. And I went to him one time several years ago. He does have, I would say, some unorthodox methods. And I don't think it's in keeping with the spirit of psychiatry when the doctor addresses his patient as, "You poor, silly bastard."
No, that would sap your confidence, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I didn't feel too good after I visited Uncle Lewis.
No,
so.
well, but then again, $3 a visit.
$3, you can't, you know.
What the hell? Sure.
I know.
Now, last time you visited us on the program, we had some unpleasantness. Do you remember that?
It wasn't really unpleasantness. I did a couple insult jokes on you, and the crowd kind of groaned. The thing I think most people don't realize is that over the years, for every one insult I've done on you, you've probably done maybe 10 on me. I remember the classic example was on the Tonight Show, and David introduced me. He said, "George Miller looks like the kind of a guy who sits next to a stranger on a bus and says, 'Hey, are you going to finish that sandwich?'"
I never said that. I never.
Sure sounded like it to me.
No.
I think it was you.
No.
And so I think last time maybe I kind of overreacted. I think maybe I was maybe pretending to be Don Rickles, and you were pretending to be a real talk show host. See, they're at it again there.
So have anything else you've been up to lately that you want to talk about?
Well, I was going to talk about the jobs that I used to have, of course, and because somebody asked me the other day, what did you do before show business, or why don't you go back and do it? I'm not sure which one. And, of course, you know my first job, I sold the hearing aids door to door, which is probably the toughest job in the world, because 9 out of 10 times your best prospects never answer. And they're not groaning now.
Is that, did you write that joke?
Did I write that joke?
Yeah.
That isn't just a true story.
That's a
all
true
this stuff,
story?
All this stuff is true for
Yeah,
me.
well, that's a very funny joke.
Yeah, it is. That's Barry Warner's joke. He's watching now. I think he's in San Francisco.
Really? That's
Yeah.
a good... Does he know you?
Thank you, Barry, and I'm not paying you for it.
I'm sorry.
He gave me that joke. And before that, well, I'll tell you, immodestly, when I worked 9 to 5, I had a lot of regular jobs. I was a very conscientious employee when I worked 9 to 5. I used to call in sick to places I didn't even work.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't make it today. You don't even work here. Well, the hell with you then. I'm not coming in.
Yeah. And
Little acting. I did a little acting.
yeah, it was very nice.
Got to do that in order to grow.
Yeah.
Got to stretch.
Now, what have you been doing when you're working at these various clubs? What do you do with your nights off?
Oh, a typical night for me would be I just kind of sit around hoping and praying that William Shatner will get more work. And 30 years, the guy's never been unemployed. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll watch a little TV. I'll tell you a couple things on TV if you got time. We watched Casablanca the other night, and there's one scene that always sticks in my mind. It's when Rick, Humphrey Bogart is Rick, of course, talking to Sam, the piano player. He says, play it. You know what I want to hear. And Sam says, well, I don't know if I know it. He says, play it. If she can stand it, I can stand it. And he says, well, I don't know. He says, play it. So he plays it, and a lot of people don't know this, that shortly thereafter, Rick was brought up on the little-known charge of being grumpy to a black guy.
No kidding. That's a mandatory prison term, doesn't it?
I don't know what the penalty was,
Oh,
but
I think
most people don't even know that.
No, I think that's uglier than folks would think it would be.
Oh, it's higher than something.
Well, they turned on the button in the thing there. We have to go away, but we'll be right back. Don't worry, folks. George Miller. Thank you, folks. Tomorrow night we'll have Gary Mulder, Dabney Coleman, and Steve Allen. You'll be in Cleveland. Cleveland. Say it.
Cleveland on June 29th.
Thanks, Paul. My next guest, a good friend of mine and also a very funny comedian, he will be appearing at a club called Byfield's located in Chicago for 1 week beginning September 27th. Please welcome back to this program, Mr. George Miller. George! Hi, George. Nice to see you. How you doing? Fine. Good, have a seat. Always nice to see you. You live on the other end of the country. You just came to New York. Did you have a nice flight? Everything
I had
okay?
a nice flight. I had a little complaint because I hear guests on your show talk about the fact they get picked up by limos at the airport and they go to the Berkshire place over here.
It's a Dunphy classic.
It's a I know it is. But only because I've heard it. I don't know that for sure because it's always some scruffy guy on a motorcycle. There's never any limo for me, and I have to meet him in Queens, by the way, also. And he takes me over to the Lower East Side, where I check in at the beautiful and luxurious Beware of the Dog Motel. So,
yeah, that's an awful place.
maybe next time, though, I'll be able to...
It's just a clerical error, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know.
We'll
It's some
correct
kind
it.
of a mix-up, I guess. Yeah.
Now, when you're on the road, I know you're an avid reader. You probably...
Everything I can get my hands on, yeah. I noticed in the newspaper that there's a lot of articles on fitness now, a lot of fitness articles.
Sure.
And even the big shots jog and everything I read where Vice President Bush jogs, and he always wears a T-shirt that says, George Bush, USA. So I guess if he gets lost and somebody finds him,
that would do it.
got it pretty well covered, yeah. And I try to read at least a few magazines every month. I noticed you had the Playboy Advisor here, the man who actually writes the Playboy Advisor a couple of months ago. And I always read the Playboy Advisor because they've got those wonderful letters. The man I've been married to for the past 8 years has an incurable disease. How can I break the news to him? Also, can you tell me a good way to clean my stereo records? So I read the newspapers and the magazines.
What
quite a
about
bit.
when you travel? What about eating? You have trouble.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
you like to cook, but you can't really do that on the road, can you?
I was thinking the other day, I think I have some psychological hang-up or something with food, and I think I've narrowed it down thinking about it. When I was a little kid, if I did something bad, my parents would always punish me by sending me to my room without any dinner.
Yeah.
But the same thing would always happen every time. About 8:30 or 9 o'clock, my mom would come up, you know, and she'd say, you know, don't tell your dad I was here. And a little while later, my dad would come up, don't tell your mom I was here, because they knew I was getting real hungry,
Sure.
you know. And they'd each sneak up individually and show me pictures of food.
That's awful.
It's a horrible
That's
story,
just awful.
yeah.
Now,
But,
you live alone, you're a bachelor, huh?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you another thing about food on the road is I was up in, you know, I come from Seattle, Washington,
Yeah.
but I spent a lot of time over in Squirt, Washington, over on eastern Washington.
The other side of the Cascades, isn't it?
Right, that's
Yeah.
right. And they have a lot of fine restaurants in Squirt, and I wanted to kind of review two here tonight if I could.
Great,
I don't
sure.
have the exact names of them, so that might hurt the review a little bit.
Okay, let me see about you want to, okay, we have to do a commercial first. When we come back,
Okay.
George Miller will review two restaurants that you could dine at in Squirt, Washington.
Washington, yeah.
So come on back. Thank you very much. Paul Shaffer and the band, they're terrific, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they're great.
Yeah. Now, two restaurants in Squirt, Washington.
The two I remember were the Palace, a Chinese restaurant, and I wanted to give it a bad review because it was just hostile atmosphere. The waiter was nasty. The cashier was belligerent. The fortune cookie said you will pay the check and then die. So
Wow.
that was no good.
No, that's
and
awful.
Then a better restaurant was the Big Fork Cafeteria. I go over to the Big Fork and I'm very surprised. The Big Fork, yeah. And it's like nobody's in there under 80 years old. I guess it's a senior citizens hangout. And you see all these senior citizens in one room, and it gives you a real good feeling because you know you can cut right in front of them in line, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Awful thing.
So those
to
were the
say.
two there, yeah. the two.
Well, let's see again. The Palace.
The Palace.
And the Big Fork.
Yeah.
The Big Fork.
And since those two restaurants I've been going to do my shopping at the supermarket more lately.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, I know you were.
Do you do your
And,
own shopping at the supermarket?
I don't like the supermarket. I'll tell you why. They make a lot of money, and they're nitpickers. You go, they got the 6 packs of the soda pop there in the cans, right?
Sure.
They're stuck together, and I don't want the whole thing, so I'll tear off 1 or 2, right? They get real mad if you do that with bread.
Yeah, I suppose they would. Yeah.
I always get soup at the supermarket.
Yeah.
I go to the Campbell's, I guess you're not supposed to mention brand names, but the Campbell's soups, they got the man-handlers.
Sure.
And I was always curious, what do you have to do to qualify if you're a soup to be a man-handlers? I mean, there's just a few of them that are marked man-handlers. It's quite an honor.
Yeah.
And you know, for instance, that cream of mushroom just sounds like a wimpy soup.
Yes, that's not a man.
Bouillon would never, oh, what a crummy food, bouillon. The hepatitis victim of soups. And these friends of mine one time invited me over for lunch a couple years ago, and we get a bowl of bouillon and a glass of powdered milk. Ah, I was stuffed for days.
So you think the highest tribute that can be paid to a soup is to be named a man-handler?
I don't know. I was curious about that. It's like a soup fraternity. I don't know what they have
Might
to
be
do
so.
to qualify there.
Now, do you still watching a lot of television?
A lot of TV. I watch your show every night. I was making notes on your show recently. I noticed there's a lot of things, a lot of segments on your show that begin with Dave's. You've got Dave's grab bag, Dave's record collection. You got the Dave's pet tricks that you showed the other night. And one thing that really shocked me was you had in Dave's record collection an album by Jack Webb. That's My Girl. Did you see that show?
Right.
I couldn't believe it. I got the same album. That guy could really hit the high notes.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll tell you something else. Is I do an impression. I don't do good impressions, but it reminded me. I do an impression of Sergeant Friday having sex. Yeah.
Sounds like the audience for that.
Do that again. Reintroduce it. Sergeant Friday.
Ladies and gentlemen, George Miller, Sergeant Friday having sex.
You want us? Do it again, one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, wait a minute, how much time do we have? Uh-oh.
Maybe next show.
Sergeant Friday having sex.
You want to slow it down, ma'am?
All right, now, okay, we got it. We're going to wait. We'll come right back.
Where are we going?
Well, we got a commercial. No, we'll take care of your plugs when we come back. We'll get them. Don't worry.
Hotel accommodations for most guests of Late Night with David Letterman, furnished by Berkshire Place, a Dunphy Classic Hotel, in exchange for this announcement. For reservations at Dunphy Hotels in the U.S. and Europe, call toll-free 800-228-2121.
Nice to see you again, George.
Thank you.
We're almost out of time. Mention where you want to...
In September, I'll be at the Richmond Comedy Club and the Virginia Beach Comedy Club. Get your tickets now. They'll be gone quickly, kind of like your morning show.
And you'll be in Chicago on September 27th.
Byfield's in Chicago, yeah.
Nice to see you
Thank
again,
you.
George.
Nice to see you.
My thanks to everybody who was here. Andrea Yeager, of course, Morris Fonte, Bill Wendell, and the fine studio audience, and, of course, Paul Shaffer and the Dominoes. Paul, nice job. Thank you very much. We'll be back Monday, folks. Have a good weekend. Good night. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the show. My next guest is a friend of mine. This is certainly true. He has been with us many, many times. This also is true. He will be appearing on September 27th through October 1st at Byfield's in Chicago. This obviously is a lie. No. It's always a pleasure to welcome comedian George Miller. George! Right there.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you again, George. You're actually going to be at Byfield's. You ever been there before?
Byfield's. No, I haven't. This will be my first.
Is that in the heart of Chicago?
That is in, I have no idea where it is. I just know Chicago.
Sounds like a nice gig, as they say.
Were you, weren't you in Pajama Game in Chicago at one time?
Yeah, years ago, Paul and I were in that.
Yeah.
Do you know any other names for the city of Chicago?
Yeah, the Windy City.
The Windy City.
Yeah, is this a test?
No, but I just thought...
That was a Don Rickles joke, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. Anything you can come up with.
You can steal, it doesn't make any difference?
No, you can't steal. You're not supposed to steal.
Oh, all right, okay.
How you been? What's been going on?
Well, I just came from my
busy?
favorite club up in Squirt, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
The Hungry Wart. I was up there again. And I didn't make a lot of money. It was more a career move.
Big club, is it?
Well, it's 15 people in the club, and they used to try to pack them in 16, 17, but the fire department really came down on their butts, you know.
Said,
so
no.
That was bad. I did run into a friend of mine up there who I think you've met, Dave McKenzie, he is originally from Squirt. He went down to Hollywood to try to become an actor, but he didn't do real well, and I think because of the restrictions that he put on himself, he has no acting ability, for one thing, and no charisma, no connections, and he refuses to accept any role unless the character's name is Otto.
So that cuts way down on
his chances aren't that good.
Yeah, but if he does become a huge star...
It would have to be with an Otto part.
Yeah, but he can also say, no, that he did it his way. You know?
Yes, that's true. He could be like Frank.
Now, George, you travel...
you don't read about all the nice things Frank does.
No, that's true. George, now you're traveling around the country. And,
yeah, we covered that. Yeah.
What are people concerned about?
I'll tell you what they're concerned. Who was over there? They're concerned about crime and mugging and things like that. To me, murder is the height of rudeness. And did you read about 2 weeks ago, Jimmy Lee Gray in Mississippi went to the gas chamber?
These people have been applauding all night. Yeah, no, these are...
According to the Associated Press, it sounds like a joke. Included in his last meal was burritos, enchiladas, tacos, refried beans, and pizza. I mean, what the hell? He would have died anyway.
Yeah, that's... no big deal there.
No.
So what else now?
I always thought that the toughest job in the world would be a priest on death row.
Yeah.
Because you got to be optimistic with somebody who's going to the electric chair. It's Teflon. You won't stick to the seat. It's a sick crowd. It's another sick crowd.
Have you yourself ever done anything illegal?
I can't do anything illegal. Anytime I try, I get caught. A couple of months ago in Los Angeles, I ran into a parked car. And I thought, well, nobody's around. I'm not going to leave a note. His tough luck, right?
Sure.
An hour later, the owner of the car is pounding on my door. It was his day off from tracking down Nazi war criminals.
Oh. That's awful luck. Boy, that's tough.
And I have illegally, I have a few years ago, I smoked a little pot, which I know you're not supposed to mention because the censors always come to your dressing room on this program. And last time, I think 2 censors came to the dressing room because the job is just too big for one person. And you can mention drugs if you do it in a derogatory manner, and I'm here to say that grass is very, very bad for you, in my opinion. It is fouling up your brain. It fouls up your concentration. Did you ever get real high and go to the supermarket and wish Campbell's soups were in alphabetical order? The guy clapped a little too soon.
So you race right to the cream of zucchini.
Right.
That's my feeble attempt at helping out.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be right back here with George Miller. George, how are the women in your life?
Well, usually I go on a road, you know, by myself, but this time to New York came with me my wife and daughter, she's 13 now. And my daughter is 4. And no, that's not true.
You're just
These
making,
people applauded everything.
You're just making that stuff up.
Yeah, that's right. I did have a blind date a couple of years ago, and that was here in New York. And I go over there. Have you had any blind dates?
No, I don't date much.
You don't date much?
No.
Okay. And I go over there, and the woman is like, I mean, I'm not perfect. I shouldn't even say anything, but she was wide. The woman was blocking the doorway. I thought I was in the fun house. It was. And so I said, what do you want to do?
Wait a minute. What do you mean you thought you were in the fun house?
Well, you know, you go into the fun house, and then everything is kind of takes on a wider shape. That's what I thought when I saw this woman. Yeah. You catch on quick.
Thank you.
And so she wants to go to the pornographic movie. Now, have you been to one of those?
No, I don't do that much either.
You're kind of here most of the time, aren't you?
It's me and the stupid pets, and that's about it.
Well, that was kind of what happened in the pornographic movie, actually. But you know who it was with? John Holmes, who was in the LA paper. John Holmes, alias Johnny Wad. And, well, you can laugh, but as an actor, that man just keeps on growing. He really does.
No.
These people have seen him.
No.
They know that.
That's it. That's the lowest. That's the single worst joke I've ever heard on this show. George, what's happening to you?
I thought that was like a Steve Allen deal.
No, these have been here ever since. You want to play with one of these?
Yeah, let me see one of them.
All right, here. No, that's the siren. Well, we're almost out of toys. We have that. This thing came from the factory with everything. We got full power, reclining seats, the whole deal.
I had never heard that before.
No, well,
of course, I never talked about John Holmes
That's
before.
right.
I guess that was
now, what are you upset about? You've talked about things.
I'll tell you what I'm upset about. I'm upset about, now, I don't know if you get this as much in New York as it's one-way streets. In Los Angeles, this always happens. The driver wants to get all the way over into this lane of traffic. So he pulls out halfway. He just stops. Now, this traffic starts to come this way, and he's sitting there just blocking this traffic. Mm-hmm. My first job in Los Angeles, I worked for the city. Every day I'd get dressed up in heavy armor, drive around in an old beat-up car, and ram into these people. It wasn't a high-paying job that everybody wanted.
Now, what are you doing after the show? I know you always have a lot of action.
Well, I love games.
Oh,
I love any kind of games. Tonight I'm going to sit around the bus depot and play Gee, I'm Glad I'm Not That Guy.
Yeah.
You want to join me on that?
No.
The last time I played that game, it was pretty interesting. I saw this bum. The guy's clothes were just dirty, filthy, sweaty, just torn to shreds. And I said to him, you don't use fabric softener, do you?
We got to go away, George. We'll be right back, folks. you, folks. I'm sorry about this. Mr. David Sanborn, who was to be here and play with our band, we ran out of time. I know, I agree. I'm just sick about it myself. He will be rescheduled, and we'll have him back as soon as possible. George, thank you very much for being here. My thanks also to Malcolm McDowell. Tomorrow, I'm going to my house to wait for the cable guy. And also, I'm sorry we didn't get Hal Gurney's Farewell to Summer. We'll do that tomorrow, too. Good night, everybody. What does it say?
Happy birthday, Bill McGann.
Happy birthday, Bill McGann? Is that it? What do you have for me? All right, happy birthday, Bill McGann. My next guest is a very funny comedian who will be appearing at the Comedy Workshop in Austin, Texas for 6 nights. That'll begin tomorrow night. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to our show, George Miller. George.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How are you tonight? I am too. Where y'all from? I am too. I was watching 60 Minutes, this is about 6 months ago, and, well, first thing they always have, well, the last thing, they usually have Andy Rooney, and sometimes he writes a column in the newspaper. Are you like me? Anytime you read a column written by Andy Rooney, all the time you're reading that column, his irritating voice is going on inside your head. Have you ever noticed? No, Andy, we haven't. Move along. And then they interviewed, this is true, they interviewed Arafat, and believe it or not, they described Arafat as urbane and almost witty. Well, it sounds like Phil Donahue to me, but I'll... So, then they had another segment. They got all these segments on this show, right? And they had a segment on famous restaurants, real posh, expensive restaurants. And I don't know about you, I get intimidated in those fancy places. I don't know what the waiter is talking about half the time. May I recommend the grilled filet of baby turbo with the cream of leek sauce? Oh, no, thanks. When I was in prison, they served that so often I got burned out on it. Then they had a big segment on alcoholism, and which is, of course, alcohol is a drug, and they're finding out now that alcoholism is inherited, which I think is nice. The old man will always have somebody to drink with. Oh, thank you. Applause already. I have Well, you'd think by looking at TV advertisements that everybody in the world is an alcoholic because they got all those, you know, rehabilitation centers advertised. They got the care unit in Los Angeles. Word for word, the woman is face down in bed, and the husband's talking to her. I told the kids Mommy was sick again. I didn't tell them Mommy has another hangover. If you can't call somebody, I'm going to have to call somebody. Now, with this guy around, I wonder why she drinks. He should call Snivellers Anonymous. So that show was over with, and then I watched my favorite program of all time, and I know it's yours too, The People's Court. Some earth-shaking decisions on The People's Court. The case of the ticked-off girlfriend. Hey, right up there with the Scopes trial in Sacco Vanzetti. Your Honor, he poked a hole in my waterbed with his ballpoint pen. Oh, my God. I better go to my chambers and think about this for several years. And they got that one guy, Doug Llewellyn, the announcer, the guy with the suit. You know that guy? And then he talks to the people after the cases, and sometimes he gives advice to the losers, and one day he's going to do that to the wrong person. Okay, now, you lost the case, and I hope this has been a good lesson for you, and you won't try this again. Why don't you eat pancakes and then jog in the hot sun? Now, Officer Burrell's in the back. He's got some documents that he'd like you to sign. I ain't gonna sign no damn documents. You go back and sign documents. Sign the one that says, I am a busybody and I have no friends. And let me give you some advice. Get a real job. Just sneaking around courtrooms all day long. That's no life for a gay boy. Don't bleep that out. He's not gay. I just said that for a laugh. Now you got the breakup of the telephone company, so I don't know if we'll be seeing as many of those telephone commercials, but I always really like them. Well, why are you crying? Well, Joan called and she said she just called because she loves us. Well, don't cry about that. You know what a lying pig she's always been. And some of the commercials sounds like they've been written by comedians. Now, this is word for word. The guy comes on, he's really assertive. He really says this. If I suffer from hemorrhoids, preparation H is going to be right by my side. Well, he's going to suffer because he's not using it correctly. They got that, what is it, bath oil or soap called Caress? They got a wonderful slogan, Caress before you dress. Well, thank you very much. I'd been doing it wrong for years. Put on my tuxedo and then lather up. Sure, right? Nitol always has a lot of good ones for Nitol. Do you take your job to bed with you? Yeah, I'm a prostitute. Enjoyed talking to you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Hi, George. How are you? Nice job.
Nice to see you again. That was very funny.
Oh, thank you very much.
You still have that light touch. Now you.
I mean that light touch.
I'm not sure what it means.
Oh.
Well, I'll talk to you about it later.
Oh, all right.
Now you're always talking about TV and stuff.
I am, yeah.
You ever go to movies? You ever see a film in your life?
I don't go to. Well, no. I maybe go to one movie a year. There's always somebody sitting behind me at the movies going.
Yeah, that would discourage attendance.
Sometimes that happens at home too, but you know, not as much. Yeah.
Now, when you're in Los Angeles, do you go out on aside from being a comedian? You ever do any acting? You ever go up for TV or movie roles?
Well, I went out on a lot of those readings that they call them, these readings and stuff. And they always cast you though. They say, well, you're the guy next door or the neighbor next door.
There's you could be the
guy next
door,
right?
Sure.
Yeah, if you lived in a crummy neighborhood, I know. But no. Well, there's a lot of typecasting even among real famous actors. Like, have you ever noticed Carl Malden always plays a guy with a big nose?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
I like that one.
Yeah. When you were here once before, I remember you did the kind of acting, you did an impression.
That's true. I did a Sergeant Friday having sex.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember that?
Oh. You want to do it
Sergeant
again?
Friday having sex. You want to slow it down, ma'am? You got about the same reaction at that time. Yeah, it's about the same. But I have a friend who kind of cured me of trying to do impressions because the guy is on. He does great impressions, but it's 24 hours a day he's doing these impressions. And it's a good story. He was fooling around with this married lady, and then the husband came home unexpectedly, right? Mm-hmm. Who the hell are you? Paul Harvey. Good day. And he ran out the door.
Yeah. Now, do you like New York? Have you warmed up to this? It's frightfully cold, but...
Well, I come here and I see these peculiar drivers. I really can't get used. They're really fast.
Traffic is tough.
Yeah, it's really fast. But I read in the National Safety Council now, maybe New York drivers should take heed of this, that not only should you keep your eyes on the road, but you check that rear view mirror all the time.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's important. See, that way if you do get hit from behind, you'll be able to see it coming, stiffen up, and be injured more severely.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Another thing I was well, everybody's aware of this all over, but the crime in New York, I guess, is pretty bad. And I get to town last night, and I read about this guy, have you read about this guy? He's goofy. Some of them are just nuts. The Robin Hood shoplifter.
No.
Apparently he steals from Saks Fifth Avenue and then leaves it at Kmart.
No kidding. Yeah, that's goofy.
Something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong, right?
Now, George, you're going to be beginning tomorrow night in Austin, Texas. You ever been there before?
No, I never have.
All right.
You?
No, I've never been there.
Yep.
At the Comedy Workshop.
Comedy Workshop. I'll be at the Ice House in Pasadena and the Comedy Castle in Detroit in February. And in March, I'll be in Virginia at the Richmond Comedy Club and the Virginia Beach Comedy Club. And in April, I'll probably be dead.
It certainly is a full life. Nice to see you again. George Miller, folks. We'll be right back. Hi there, welcome back. On drums, Alan Schwartzberg. Alan, nice to have you here. Playing guitar tonight, Chris Spedding. Chris, thank you for being here. Tomorrow night, Martin Mull, Dr. Held Feldman, the stress analyst, and Ron Silver. This is George Miller, folks. Good night. Thank you. My next guest is a very funny man. He will be appearing tomorrow through the 16th at Caesars at Lake Tahoe, and the next week he will be at the Dunes in Las Vegas. He will also be traveling on the Budweiser College Tour, appearing at Notre Dame on October 9th. Please welcome back a very funny man, Mr. George Miller. George!
Thank you very much. How are you? I am too. Where are y'all from? I am too. Are you glad that John Z. DeLorean got acquitted? Yeah? Yeah? He's a big-time show business celebrity right now. He's sending that tape around trying to get work. I don't like people who are inept at their work. Like, I'm in the supermarket, and the guy's name is Phil. He's got his name tag on there, right? Phil, could you please tell me where I might find the vegetables? Gee, I don't know where the vegetables would be. I've only worked here about 11.5 years. I don't know where anything is. How about the tuna fish? Gee, I don't even know if I know what tuna fish is. So, well, Phil, they should stamp your forehead showing the last day you're allowed to be this stupid. TV acts like we're stupid. Have you noticed that? Want high quality at low discount prices? No, we want to pay big dough for crappy products. William Conrad for Ready Light, word for word. This is the Ready Light. It was shining an hour after this light went out. So what'll it be, the Ready Light or the one that failed? Could I get back to you on that? Channel 11 in Los Angeles actually says this. You are watching the Los Angeles at Night movie. Well, thank you very much. I thought I was bowling in Utah at high noon. They always ask these questions. Do you have a problem with cat box odor? Yes, and I'm worried about it. I don't have a cat or a cat box. Thank you. I'm not sure for what, but I like that. Grape Nuts, of course, is, they're kind of condescending. There's no question that Grape Nuts is right for you. The question is, are you right for Grape Nuts? Well, gee, I sure hope I can qualify. Grape Nuts, of course, has always been the simple cereal. You know, like cornflakes is real complicated. Hey, you want cornflakes? Oh, no, no, thanks. I don't want to get in over my head. This friend of mine, I never heard of this before. This friend of mine mixes Nabisco shredded wheat and grape nuts in the same bowl. Yeah, I'm anxious to try that. I've never eaten hay and little rocks at the same time. I love television. I love it. I can't get enough of it. Alan Thicke finally did become a household word. Goodbye. No, I like all the interview shows. I saw Peter Fonda interviewed one time. Peter Fonda said that he planned to give up acting gradually over the next few years, which I think is very considerate. I don't think I could take it if he stopped all at once. was watching last Saturday. You ever see the show The Outdoor Sportsman? Oh, if there's anything I can't get enough of, it's televised fishing. Why don't they just show somebody mowing their lawn? Hey, you want to watch the Super Bowl? Are you kidding? This guy's about to bait his hook. Saw the Democratic and the Republican convention. Remember, like, what, 12 years ago when George McGovern ran against Richard Nixon? Oh, too close to call. They had really unusual commercials for McGovern. Actually, a guy came out word for word. He says, during the Nixon years, the price of hamburger increased 35%. During the Nixon years, morality declined. Adulterous conduct was up 15%. Now, how did they know that? What did they do? Take a survey? Excuse me, sir. Wonder if you could tell us, did you commit adultery during the Nixon years? Yes, I did. I found it's a good substitute when you can't afford hamburger. Enjoyed talking to you. Thank you very much.
George Miller. Have a seat. George Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Very funny. Nice job, George. We'll be right back. Okay. Nice to see you again, George. It was very funny.
Much.
Very nice job.
Thank you very much.
Terrific stuff.
Thank you.
How was your trip out here? I know sometimes flights you don't
it was
get along
great.
too well.
We just buzzed right
No
out.
problem.
No annoying people sat next to me like a lot of times, you know.
Yeah.
Well, one guy, I thought he might be, but he wasn't. He just said, could I read your paper?
Yeah.
And I handed it to him. He said, I see it's the LA Times. And I said, you're off to a good start. And that was, you know, that was it. And so then we seem to be the only ones enjoying that.
No, I enjoyed that. Sure.
So anyway, then we get, it was about, you know, mealtime, so naturally everybody got one of those little prisoner of war TV dinners. And then the flight attendant came around after the dinner with a little complimentary after-dinner mint.
Yeah?
Oh, no, thanks. I couldn't eat another bite. No. But it was a very nice flight.
Well, now that you're
Yeah.
in town,
Kinda
I
nice.
know when you come to town, it's almost a celebration. You have a lot of friends here. You go out to dinner. You're
lot
going
of
to go
dinners.
to a big restaurant
Well,
tonight?
I had a dinner date planned the last time I was here. I wanted
Yeah.
to tell you about this. And first of all, I was thinking fast foods. No, I don't think so. Jack in the Box really kind of made me mad because they've got this slogan out that's kind of insulting. If you don't go, you'll never know. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
Which I think the problem there is we've all been and we do know. So we went to a pretty nice place, a very fancy restaurant, and she was one of these ladies.
Your date?
Yeah, my date. Yeah. Who'd you think I meant?
I don't know. I didn't know we had a date here.
And she kept saying things like, "Well, gee, I'm really not very hungry." And then the food came, and she ate like she was from the Donner Party. And and this was one of these real fancy places. I felt impressed. 38 waiters for one table, and they specialize at these fancy places. They really specialized. The butter waiter came over and gave us some butter. The coffee waiter came over and gave us some coffee. The water waiter came over and gave us some water. The head waiter came over. They really specialize in these places. They really It was a nice place. They know that place, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They seem to be familiar with the place.
My goodness. Ooh,
So how you been?
popular place. Now, the last time I was in California, I saw you, and we went out to a ball game, and we came by and
ball
stopped
game.
at your apartment.
We
now,
went-
you didn't invite me into your apartment.
No, I didn't want you in there at all.
How is the place?
Well, it's the place is, I can describe it briefly. You go in, there's a living room, and then if you go back further, there's a bedroom, and if you go off to the right, there's a bathroom. It's a real tricky floor plan. And of course, most of my days are spent, you know, I'm trying to kind of be an actor, so I try to, try to grow and stretch. And, of course, that's in the morning. In the afternoon, I channel and focus. But I've been practicing my acting. I want to give you a little example, if I could, because a time or two on the show, I talked about meeting Sybil, the one with all those different personalities, and which I think multiple personalities are good because it kind of, you know, evens out, makes up for some of the people who have none. And
I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, well, she had like, I don't know, 16, 17 different personalities. Watch this acting now.
Okay.
I always wanted to meet Sybil so I could say to her, "Who the hell do you think you are?" I kind of grew and stretched since I said it the last time. Did you think so?
So then the head waiter comes over,
And then the head waiter came over.
Okay, now we have to do a commercial.
Oh, no.
No, we do, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
And maybe George will be here. Okay. So, quickly now, what are your future plans?
I'm going out with a comedian that you know, Larry Beezer. We're going to be playing all over. Yeah, we're going to be playing all over.
Where are you going to perform?
Oh, it'll be mostly large outdoor stadiums. Festival seating, of course.
Okay. My thanks to Mr. Miller for being here. Very funny, George. Also, I'm sorry, Claudia Costa, the young baton twirler, we ran out of time. She will be rescheduled. And you folks will be invited back the night she's here. Also, my thanks to Michael Medved. Tomorrow night, Carl Reiner and singer Patti LaBelle with Paul and the band, right? Yes. Okay, have a good night. Good night, folks. Paul. My next guest is a very good friend of mine. He's also a very funny man. He will be appearing on January 15th in Columbus, Ohio at the Newport Music Hall. Please welcome George Miller.
Thank you. How are you tonight? I am too. Where are y'all from? I am too. I was thinking, I really admire people who just say what they think and the hell with everything, you know, they don't beat around the bush. I'm in line at the bank a couple weeks ago, and this lady comes up to me. I never saw her before. She said, "Could I get ahead of you in line?" I said, "Why?" She said, "Because my life is more important than yours." How many of you like magic? Right? I can't stand magic. Pick a card, any card. I don't want to pick a card. Get the hell away from me. But then if I do pick a card and he does the trick correctly, he'll be able to tell me which card I picked. Who cares? I know which card I picked. I'm secure enough. If he finds out too, I can live with it. They're always giving you this, 25 cents, 25 cents. That doesn't impress me. I got my own money. And if I go broke, I won't be fingering my ear for a lousy quarter. You know what I don't like? Those simplistic quizzes in those romantic magazines. Do you depend exclusively upon your mate for your happiness? Well, no, she lets me do it with her sister, too. And you have all those rumors about famous people and their sex lives. I don't think it's true, the rumor that David Letterman, just before he makes love, he always says, "Let's get on with it, shall we?" And after it's over, he shakes hands. Nice job. I don't think that's true. I want to tell you about some television I watched this past year, and maybe you saw some of these shows. Did you watch the HBO special with Eddie Murphy? Yeah? Try to see that with your grandparents. They'll really enjoy it. Art Linkletter was advertising something called the Living Bible. It says it reads like a newspaper, this Bible. So I bought it, and it does. I turned to the sports section. David upsets Goliath. TV thinks we're stupid. They want us to believe that U-Ban is such a rich coffee we can actually use it as a dessert. So on Halloween, I gave U-Ban to all the trick-or-treaters. All that caffeine, they were still busy knocking on doors at 5 o'clock the next morning. Why are people drinking Diet Coke? Because they're fat and thirsty. Excedrin is the strongest pain reliever, the best medicine you can buy without a prescription. You want to bet? Aspirin is smart, but Bufferin is smarter. Well, the doctor gave me codeine. I must be a damn genius. I'm going up to Seattle for Christmas. I want to tell you about a little bit about growing up. At one point, as we were growing up, as I was growing up, we lived with my grandparents, and they were getting along in years. And I think because of their influence, to this day, I still get along well with elderly people, unless they brag about their age. You've all been victims of that. Look at me! I'm 94 years old. Well, good. That means you'll be passing away soon. I like to talk about death. I think it's a great subject. I always felt sorry for Mr. Bojangles because his dog Upton died. I mean, it's bad enough if a pet passes away, but when he ups and then dies. New York comics always talk about how tough everybody is, the insults they hurl. You ever do that again, I'll rip out your gizzard and fry it in front of you. Now, in Seattle, we were tough, but not that tough. It'd be more like, oh, yeah? Well, your mother sells Amway products. I have never been a tough person. I was once beaten up by Marvin Hamlish. One night, though, I didn't know what to do. I was working at this nightclub. There's a big guy at the bar. He's like 6'4", about 240 pounds, bad-mouthing everybody. I lost my temper momentarily. And I went up to the guy and I shoved him up against the bar. I said, I don't care how big you are. You ever say anything like that in here again, I'm going to bust you right in the mouth. I was really hot. I told him, I said, now you take your guide dog and get out of here. You got to take a stand sometimes, you know. You got. I forgot to mention my dad. My dad was always, I don't know, he wasn't really much help. I remember when I was like 11 or 12 years old, I was actually confused. I said, what is the difference between fornication and adultery? He told me he'd done them both. He couldn't tell any difference. Enjoyed talking to you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Very nice. Very funny. Let's get on with it, shall we?
Yeah. That's just a rumor, you understand.
Yeah. You look good. That's a nice sweater. You look
Thank
terrific.
you very much. Make Company, $39.
No, good. Now, did you really, you were talking about selling things door to door. Did you ever do that?
One time I sold encyclopedias, door to door. And the first day on the job, like the third house I knock on, I find out later this is like the goofy woman of the neighborhood, right? And I don't know this. And she opens the door. I don't get to say a word of my pitch. She just starts yelling, "Get the hell out of here! Get away from here, I'll kill you! Get away from my door, I'll kill you! I don't know what I'm going to do with my life!" So I said, well, maybe you could become a receptionist.
Well, it's that time of year. You getting close to making some New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, I've resolved just to buy brand names.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Nice to see you. How are you, sir? Thanks for being here.
You ain't like my HBO special, man?
Does this mean I'll have less time?
No, I just running out to, because I heard you did a joke. I want to mess your mind up.
Goodbye.
Dave, nice to see you. Thanks to see you. Take care, Eddie. A lot of money. No. A lot of money. We'll do a commercial, and then we'll be right back. Well, that was nice. Wasn't that nice? Thanks, Paul. Now, that was exciting, wasn't it?
That was a shocker, yeah.
That was
Because I thought it
exciting.
was some like prop guy running back here to do something. I
Very
couldn't
nice.
figure it out.
It was
Yeah.
very nice of him to do that.
Right.
He's just a kid. He's like 18 or 19, and he's making so much money.
Tremendous
It's just
amount of money.
unbelievable.
Yeah, of course, you're not exactly starving yourself, right?
But the way he did that. Now, Paul, did you see the way Eddie ran in here like that?
Very stealthily. We all thought he was a prop man.
Now, see, that's the way to do it. If you're going to drop in on the show, run right in, do a great joke, get a big laugh, and hit the road.
Get out.
Now, when Bob Hope does it, he comes, he's there. He's there for lunch.
Yeah.
That's not the way you do it. You come in, you get your laugh, and you pack, right?
That's right.
So it was a good lesson in comedy for folks planning to burst in on this show.
See that?
Where were we?
New Year's resolutions.
Oh, that's right.
I
That's
never
right.
lose my place.
Yeah.
The one, we didn't get to any of the New Year's resolutions. I was thinking we'd get to one. Always buy brand names.
Buy brand names, yeah.
Ever since I had so much trouble with that she-devil washer and dryer, that's it. I also had some problems with a she-devil steam iron, and that doesn't work either, so.
See, if you'd done steam iron
That
first.
would have worked, yeah, you're right.
And
that
then
would've-
the washer
that would've
and
saved
dryer.
it. I think
Yeah.
so. And we need comedy doctor here. Oh, the second thing was I did lose 15 pounds.
Yeah, you
I was
look-
on
you
the,
look terrific.
Thank you. I was on the Cambridge diet, which is just, it's unbelievably wonderful.
Uh-huh.
I'm always looking forward to tomorrow, at which time I can have some more powder. And horrible diet. And I was about 6 months ago, I was really bored with my life. I know you'll find that hard to believe. But so I thought I'll change my eating habits, right? Balanced meals, that's supposed to really make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, and my alertness increased.
That's
I was
good.
still real bored, but I noticed it so much more.
Now,
We had, I'm not finished yet, one more. We had,
maybe Eddie can come back.
we had Chinese food on the way over here tonight. You like Chinese food?
Oh, I love Chinese food.
But I think what they say about it is true. You eat it, and an hour later, you're hungry again. I think
Yeah.
that's true. And my favorite is Italian food. Anybody like Italian food? A lot of people. Are you like me, though? You eat it, and 5 or 6 days later, you're hungry again.
Now,
It's a long way to go.
yeah, we have a friend you want to say hello to.
Herman Bursky, who is a friend of mine, and you know him also, recovering from an illness down in Florida. Do I look in that thing?
Yeah.
Which one? I don't know. Oh, the one that's on. Yeah, get well, because I always play the audience. Get well soon, Herman. We know you're going to recover real quick.
Well, it's very nice of you to do that.
Okay. I was in a hospital myself one time, you know.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, low-budget hospital. They didn't have very good equipment.
No.
They didn't even have anything to take my temperature with. The doctor had to use his wife's meat thermometer.
Oh, no.
I didn't mind taking off all my clothes, but getting into that little pan was a bitch.
Yeah. Didn't you have an odd history teacher in high school that had some sort of peculiar theories about Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, he always claimed Abraham Lincoln was never really assassinated, that he just had the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah. Boy, is that strange. That's horrible. We have to do a commercial, but we'll be right back.
Are we going to do plugs?
We'll get your plugs in, George. Don't worry. We'll be right back. I want to, Jenny Zink, the woman who was supposed to be here to talk about training Santa Clauses. I'm sorry to Jenny, we ran out of time, but we'll book her in January. My thanks to George Miller and Billy Crystal and Eddie Murphy. It was nice to see him. You're going to be, got a couple...
Cleveland Comedy Club, January 9th to the 12th, and Ohio University in Athens on January 18th.
All right. Thanks for
you.
being here,
Thanks
George.
a lot.
Have a good weekend, folks. Good night.